Hey guys, good evening. I don't know what happened to the intro. I set it up and it's not where in the folder it's supposed to be in. I've been having some weird things happen with this laptop. Yesterday, Photoshop completely disappeared, like it never existed on my system, and I was having issues shutting it down. It wouldn't let me shut the computer down or anything. I had to do like 57 restarts and update from Microsoft and all this other stuff. So I don't know what the hell's going on. All I know is it should have been sent because it told me it was sent. So whatever. Okay. Anyway, I want to welcome everybody. It's Friday. My name is Charlotte. I'm going to be your host for the next hour unless I disappear. Uh, I'm also the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team. I'm trying to see what happened to that thing. It's killing me. Um, I won't be happy till I see what's happened to it, and Corell's not opening up, so I give up today. Okay, anyway, I'm the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team based out of Sacramento, California. We're 45 strong up and down the state, which means if you have a paranormal issue or you think you might have a paranormal issue, we can get to you. Yeah. And if we can't get to you in time, because it's a big state, right? We have mediums on staff who can phone you and talk to you about your paranormal issues. Okay. That being said, again, my name is Charlotte. I'll be your host. Tonight is Friday. It's Nancy Matt's Friday. We got a great show set up for you. And look at that. I forgot my ticker tape thingy too. Let's go. Whoop, ticker tape. There we go. Okay. It's the magic tape. Okay. And I'd like to welcome everybody. If you're watching from Facebook and you like what you see, oh, Corell just zapped me. Hang on. It's just one of those days, right? Maybe I named it something weird. Let me look real quick, see if I named this something weird, because it should be right here. This is Bob. I'm one of these people that if I don't look at it, it's gonna bug me for the whole show. Of course, it was there. I'm sorry. I didn't name it when I thought I named it. Duh. Okay, that's what I get. It's there. I just thought I named it something else. All right. So now I'm happy. I can go on with the show now. If you're watching from Facebook, ignoring what happened just now, and you like what you see, please be sure to hit that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please follow. Also, if you're watching from YouTube and you like what you see, please hit those happy faces and the hearts and the like buttons because that puts us up higher in the algorithm so people can see us. Okay, so please do that. Lately, we've been doing pretty good over YouTube, so I'm thinking you guys are doing that. Okay. Also, if you haven't subscribed already on YouTube, please do so. I've got almost 600 videos over there, all on different varying topics. I'm a journalist. I do not like to be on the same topic all the time, so I will vary the topics. Like the last couple days, we've had some different types of shows on. Okay. All right. So my allergies, everything's so blurry right now. So I have an adventure to talk about before we start the show. Um, I work nights, and I usually go to bed around 4 in the morning, and I'll get up around 10. I get a few hours sleep, and I'm exhausted. I always wonder why I'm exhausted during the day. That's why. And today was no different, and so I got up at 12 and fell back asleep. I mean, that's just the way it is. I didn't go to bed till 6. Anyway, so when I got up, I thought, well, I'm going to have dinner before the show. So I go in the kitchen, stagger in the kitchen, all tired, and I grab a bowl for put it on the counter. Reached up, grabbed some tuna, went over, opened it up with the can opener, and got a spoon, drained it, got a spoon, scooped it out in the bowl. Then I went over, got my mayonnaise. So I'm just about to put mayonnaise into the tuna, getting ready. I'm going to mix it up and all that for my sandwich. And I happened to look at the can, and it said Friskies. That's how tired I was today. That's right. It said Friskies. Good thing I caught it, or it would have been. I would have pondered at how weird the tuna tasted. So if you're half asleep, do not, and then don't store your tuna cans with your cat food. That's the moral of the story. Okay, on that note, I'm going to bring Nancy in and get this show on the road. Here we go.
Hi, everybody. Well, we keep the canned cat food
I can
in.
barely hear you.
How about if I put the arm down?
A little better.
I actually not very tired though. I had a busy day. I'm doing the summer to winter, the winter to summer, goodwill type of thing, and it's not
Right.
fun. And then women, we want tendency to keep what we didn't get to wear last year. just because
Right.
life got busy. It's a fun day. Well,
Come
we
on, you got cats. You had to have done it somewhere along the line and reached over, got the wrong damn can.
actually, I was going to make a comment that the cat's frisky cans are in the I call the yellow room, and it's where all this
Okay.
stuff is, plus some storage. And Larry likes canned tuna, and he
Mhm.
opened up a can, and the cats didn't eat it, and so he put it on the counter, and I went, "Oh, that smells so good." I thought, what is he eating? I'm gonna go look, and I was actually kind of like, "Oh my God, it's cat food, and it smells that good." Oh my gosh. I could see where someone would not know what to do about that. I'm off
I was
center. I
that
wonder.
close. I was that close to putting that first glob of mayonnaise in that puppy.
Well, the cats eat it. Can't be that. Actually, I can remember hearing stories about some really old folks that don't have enough money and they do eat the cat food and the dog food.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it does happen. When I was growing, I'm gonna, Dixie, if you hear me say this, don't laugh. Um, Spirit lady now. When I was growing up, we had neighbors and they had a boy and a girl, and the kids liked the dog biscuits,
Oh
and they were
Lord.
always eating the dog biscuits. I don't know if Dixie and Bob knew, but I remember that little shape like a dog bone, and they
Yeah.
just womp away at those. And I never tried one, but I remember thinking, well, the dogs eat it. Just because I didn't want it doesn't mean.
There was there was one Christmas Eve because I go to Karen. Well, I haven't done that in the last couple of years, but I used to go with Mom to Karen's apartment to celebrate Christmas
Yeah,
with
yeah.
gifts, and cookies and the whole schmear. And one year we get over there, and if my sister's watching this, she's either gonna laugh or be really pissed at me. I get my mom over there. We got her a nice little chair. We got her bundled up and all that. And Karen says, "Well, come get cookies. We got cookies over here." So I go over there and I see this jar full of these really cool Christmas looking cookies. So I grab one. I give it to my mother, and my mother eats it and drinks her hot cocoa.
Your mom,
And
I
Karen
love it.
goes, her eyes get like saucers, and she goes, "Oh, those are the dog cookies."
Your mother was probably enjoying them. I could see this happening. You know what? I love it. I love these
I've had my
stories,
moments.
and
I've had my
but
moments.
we need to get on our topic tonight. I
Oh, I know.
I
Let's
got
just get rocking and rolling with this puppy. I have stories to tell. Yeah.
okay.
Obviously, obviously I've rested.
You caught up on your okay. And did you ever get your can of tuna? Maybe we should finish the story.
I did.
Did
I
you
got
eat
my
your,
can of tuna. Funny, I got the correct can, and I actually made my sandwich. But I was just about to drop in there because I didn't even have my nose is stuck because of my allergies, so I didn't even smell it. So my
oh,
ready to
see that's
drop that
that's
drop that spoonful full in there, and then I realized that doesn't have the same coloring as a tuna can. And it said Friskies on the side.
well, some of the
No.
salmon, mackerel,
Oh
and all
yeah.
these others. I love fish. So when he had that can open, I thought, and the cats are not very smart. They should be eating it for the
Yeah.
oil, and they prefer the
Yeah.
dry. So we've had a
Oh, so do
little
mine.
bit
Mine
of a
don't like it either.
yeah. We're having a battle. The smellier, the better. But
My young cats are okay with it. My females, they're okay
yeah,
with it, but the male cats are used to dry, so they don't want to touch it. The other thing is
yeah,
the smell. Even with the smell, my father loves sardines,
me
canned
too.
sardines.
Yeah. Mhm.
So even with the cat food, even if I could smell it, I would have thought, oh, it smells really good. It smells like sardines almost, and it wouldn't bother me.
Oh, that's not it. Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
I don't
We're
like being
talking
off to
about
the side.
miracles today. We're talking about miracles today, and I have a good
It's a
friend.
miracle you showed up tonight. I tell you, I turned it on, and these are we're talking about miracles because last week, I don't want to get off track. I do want to tell the story of your friend.
Yes.
And yes, we'll get to that. I want to kind of hi, Jerry uh, and Marissa. The kids are coming into the room. I guess we want to go to places. We're going to talk about miracles with a large
Yes.
M. We're going to
Yes.
talk about miracles with a small m. And I
Yes.
was actually flabbergasted in my world. I call everything that's a miracle. And I have a couple stories about me. It's always fun to hear about. I've always been a really quiet person, and I don't talk about myself. But this give me a little platform, and maybe kids, people would want to know why I got into this. I've already explained about the cancer in '87,
Right.
the divorce, 6 months. Yeah, I got into this, but there's other stories, and I have
Yes.
another story of a friend someone in my family. But anyway, um, I was kind of flabbergasted, not because I don't know about angels and the God force and all the sons of God, and there is one female angel, archangel. Man, I had to really look for her name. I can't pronounce it. Everybody starts with an A, but I did look it up and I did some research because I thought like maybe people don't know much about angels or miracles, but a lot of times the story of miracles is contributed to how strong is your faith,
Hmm.
um, and if you let me go back to the beginning. Miracle. Let me tell you, I will name the author of some of the words I'm repeating, and I will kind of jumble around so it's not like I'm stealing a show. Information from another website, not getting credit. I will, but I kind of hit and miss a couple different sites because I wanted a little better base.
Yeah.
So Google is wonderful. Um, a miracle is an event that is inexplicably natural or scientific. Oh, that didn't make sense. A miracle is an event that is inexplicably by natural or scientific laws and according gets attributed to some supernatural or godly force. And yes, we do know stories of magnificent things happening, and then we hear of stories where a dam broke in 18 something and killed 1,200 people. That's
Hmm.
terrible. Why? Where is the balance there? Because those people were God-fearing people. And at the top of my mind right now, I read up on that earlier. I went, wow, look at that. Or the 240,000 people that died Christmas 2004. Where's the miracles? Well, there was some miracles. There were some people that did live, and and there was movies about families that survive. Is that a miracle? You know, there's a point where we don't know what a miracle really is because we want those miracles in our life, and we call those small imps. Now, the big ones, or like the three children that saw the Madonna, that's a miracle. But do we live a life? Do we live our life expecting to see the Madonna, or do we
Right.
see the figure? There was a I apologize. I've been wanting to capture these clips. And there was a clip, a video of a woman who's put her camera against the glass in an airplane. Did anybody see this? Raise your hand.
Yeah.
And she got home. You saw it. She got home
I
and
thought.
had the film developed, and yeah the the group of people that did the developing called her up, said it's ready, but we want to talk to you. And she got down there, and they had this is just this last couple of days, everybody. And the picture was in black and white and in color, but the one that could be seen so clearly was a Christ figure in the clouds, like 15 stories tall, blended into the background of the clouds in the midst of the storm. So what the women, there was a couple women there, and they held hands and they prayed because during this travels in the clouds, lightning, thunder, a lot of jostling in the other plane. I mean, clearly I'd be afraid too because I don't travel very well. Has nothing to do with it. I'm afraid I'm going to die or from a crash. No, it's just getting from here to there. I just can't keep my stomach calm. Anyway, these women prayed that even though there's turbulence and it could be dangerous, is to calm the hearts of the people on the plane. And they prayed and they said, let these people have peace. And they all calmed down. And then they said, to get to our destination, please calm the clouds. And it did. Something happened where the clouds stopped the thunder and the roaring, and they calmed down, and the woman put a camera against the glass and there was the Christ figure in the clouds. Wow, that's a miracle.
You know what?
What?
If I'm on an airplane, I'm in the middle of like clouds like that. I wouldn't know how to take the figure because I wouldn't know if it was a good thing that he's going to calm things down or if he's coming to get me. You know what I mean?
Well,
So I'd be wondering what was going to happen.
you have taken contents that the women had prayed that the people in the plane would calm down.
Right, right,
And
right,
if you
right.
watch the video, there was a video of them
Yes, yes.
in the plane. Everybody was calm. And then they prayed to the divine in a humble, remember that word humble, in a humble manner. Please calm the clouds down so we can get to our destination, said other words in there.
Right,
And the clouds just parted. They just moved aside for them. So that's when you put the camera against the glass and you saw the
right.
picture. Everybody just look on Christ
And
in the
it's
Clouds.
really a cool picture.
It's a
It's
really
really
cool
cool.
picture.
Really cool picture.
And in the definition of what I looked up, that would be a miracle. We can't all have those miracles. What about the
Right.
240,000 people that died? Wouldn't they wish they'd had a miracle? What was the
Right.
miracle that
Right.
the a whole ocean upchucked and everybody died? I mean, where do we call that miracle? I want to remind you of another picture that I saw, and it's a 14-year-old girl, and she is very, very ill in the hospital. And somehow somebody in the ward saw this light, and they took a picture. They were looking up in the mirror, and they saw light by the door, and they turned and
Hmm.
took a picture, though they couldn't see it. And there was a bright light shaped like a human being at her door. And this 14-year-old girl, mentally, she's I don't know what condition she had, but she's one of those that can't learn very easily, and she had some mental problems and whatever, whatever. And she was expected to die, and she did not. And the family said, "This is a miracle.
Hmm.
Is this a miracle with a big M or a little m?" Because she
Right.
was singled out, she was healed. And
Yes.
I'm not going to put my mind to that little girl, but how about the Indian girl that was shot in the face? And now she's
Oh
an
yeah.
advocate for women's rights.
Yep.
Was hers a miracle that she lived? Was that a big M or a little m? Don't know for sure. And why can't people who have children that are dying get a
Hmm.
miracle to save the child?
Right.
And when you have your life, I want to okay, so the four types of miracles. Ma- Majority are faith healings, and this one surprised exorcism, resurrection, and control over nature. Remember the Christ figure in the clouds? That is it. But it was based on the faith of the Christ figure, control over nature. Remember, I in a Christian country, if I lived in another country and had another deity, would I see that deity in the clouds? What is our faith based on and who we expect to see? I think that's really important to think about. And then the next sentence says, you cannot have a miracle without faith. And that's why I said we have the Christ figure, but in other countries they have another deity that they pray to. So that faith is based on the important figure in their religion. So you cannot have
I
a
was
miracle without that
I
faith.
was just thinking about something, and it may not even be a miracle. It's kind of along that line that happened to my father. This family has nothing but comic stuff, and my father was never a real big believer in the church or anything like that. But he was due for this heavy duty surgery, and 3 days
Mm.
before the surgery, we go out for Chinese food,
Oh, I know this. Yes.
and we're sitting there. We get our fortune cookies, and we're all reading them, and my father all of a sudden turns really white. And we said, "Well, what is it?" And he says, "Well, mine says you'll soon be crossing the great waters."
Oh no.
What the hell does that mean? And then right then, the red brick of God hit him. you know, he got religious real fast.
Last week's topic, everybody.
Yeah, I'm just saying. It just occurred to me when you were talking about faith. That has to do with
Uh-huh.
it has to do with your faith. And if him, he had faith, but not heavy faith. He's kind of
Right,
like me.
right. Not like your mom.
And
Mhm.
yeah, and it took that for him to go, okay, this is a message from somebody telling me I better get it together before I go to surgery.
If you knew him, everybody, this is a profound statement.
Yeah.
Yes, I did know
Yes.
him.
Yes. So yeah.
And mama.
But the look on
Um,
his face though when he pulled the fortune cookie, that was just hysterical.
was that a miracle with a small m? I'd like you to,
Yes.
and I apologize for not knowing these names. I was doing some research, but I got busy with, it's just a long day. The other lady I'd like to have everybody remember was a woman who was dying of cancer,
Hmm.
and she was on her deathbed. And she went into a coma, and when she did, she had near-death experience, and she was shown and she was told that she would go back and be completely healed, and she was. She was an Indian lady, and of course, I can't speak any. I'm barely able to speak English most of the time, but she was absolutely 100% cured of her illness, and she was ravaged with cancer. I had cancer stage 3. I didn't get ravaged like that, but it was pretty tough. And what it does is it affects you psychologically, spiritually, every
Hmm.
level. Anybody have in the room there, look her up real quick. I may not do well. Um, okay, no one's saying anything in there. Um, Shar, you don't know her name, do you?
I do
Anyway, she's
not.
a lovely lady. She wrote a terrific book about her experience, and she is now she serves. I serve, and she serves, and so we turn around our illnesses and our unfortunate circumstances, and we're of service. There's another story I'd like to bring up. It's about a little boy. Heaven is real, and
Oh
it's
my
a
God,
little.
yeah, I saw that.
You saw that?
Saw
Well,
the movie.
huh?
It turned into a movie.
They put it into a movie, and then it came out later on that maybe they had kind of put that story together. But in reality, I think they backed away like a lot of people do. They didn't have a normal life. They just wanted to go away. I am a spiritualist minister, Universal Christ of the Master, who I studied with, but became
Right,
a minister of the Church of Living God, Sedona, Arizona. And at some point, there was times when I could have made a bigger splash or done more. But in reality, am I doing what I'm supposed to do? Am I of service?
right,
And so we have a family that has a child, and the congregation goes from 30 to 50 to thousands. What kind of life is that child going to have? And clearly, the parents thought it'd be best not to have the spotlight on this child. And they kind of said, we made it up, and truly not. Well, the reason I brought up the Fox sisters, spiritual minister, is that the Fox sisters were the three girls that
hmm
heard the tappings in their home in the 1800s. Just happens that my father's mother, grandmother, great grandmother came from the same area. And it's my father's side of the family that allowed me to see spirit people and do what I'm able to do. So they
sure,
were intricate in with the Fox sisters in that most northern part of New York state. And I understand why the Fox sisters, when one of them passed away earlier than the other two, and they said they made it up because they didn't want any more publicity.
hmm
And clearly, I don't know, my family never said much about it, but I knew about it. It was very real to them, and it started a whole movement of spiritualism. So without the Fox sisters, we would not have pursued this, and there wouldn't be branches.
right,
Universal Christ of the Master, Church of Living God is on East Coast, and then we have the one that's in the Northeast. My mind just went blank. I can't remember. Spiritualist, National Spiritualist Association
hmm
of America, something. And so, um, was the Fox sisters a small M or large M? I kind of get it, not to necessarily be a large M, but I do believe that they were meant to start the spiritualist movement. Absolutely. The little boy who saw heaven, and clearly I said again I shouldn't have, is that the little boy started talking about all the dead relatives and the child that
yes,
was never born to his mother.
yes,
And how can you know things like that? You can't. It's like when I talk to
yeah,
spirit people and they tell me secrets. and I'm hearing things. I go, should I say something? You have to, because then I can never let it go. And they'll start
right,
laughing, or they'll say, "Oh, how did you know that?" Well, God, you're talking to the guy. Tell me. And so these are what we call small miracles, because without my faith, uh, and belief that we can do this and belief of survival, my mind wouldn't be open to hearing them. Small M's. Um, so the faith is a factor that you have to believe you can. You have to believe it's possible. I don't want to minimize the big M. How often does the big M show up? I I don't know. The
you know,
three children were in the field when the Madonna showed up, and the Madonna said, "In October, you come to the field again, and I will show you a miracle." So when they came back, the sun moved, came closer. Well, nowadays we're getting stories. Maybe it was Shar, you want to say that word? It was, who was this? The miracle,
right,
the moon, the sun
right,
changed its
right,
direction in
right,
the sky in the moment, or did the earth move? It doesn't
hmm
matter. The miracle was in the big M, and the faith of the congregation that came today started a whole movement. Okay, and what about,
there's also the report of the woman with her, I think it was two kids during the tornado, and they were in their
Um,
basement. I think no, they were in a closet. I don't think they were in a basement. And the house started to rip apart around them, and they looked up and they saw angels flying in and out, and nothing happened to them. The whole house went down, and the closet stayed erect.
you're gonna have. I don't know that story.
Yeah,
That's a
I
good
heard that about
story.
a couple years ago. That happened.
Now, is
There
that a
was a
large
report of
M or small M miracle?
yeah. I don't know. Probably a large him, I
Don't
would
know.
think.
I
The whole house went, and then
for them, what makes them special?
yeah. I don't
And
I don't know what makes people special for that. I don't. I used to cover health for 3 years for the newspaper I work for, and I would run into people that had cancer, and all of a sudden it would disappear, or kids on the Make a Wish. That was another thing. It was a depressing thing to cover
yeah.
because you knew these kids
Mm,
wouldn't be getting their wish unless they were considered terminal. But there were out of the ones I've
yeah.
covered over the years, maybe two or three have come out of it.
Yeah, or they're still alive, which was not
Yeah, they're still alive. They're in
expected.
remission or whatever it
Mhm.
is. And who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows how that stuff happens?
And I wanted to start out the conversation by saying I have very young children in my family, and I look at these precious little blue-eyed blonde girls. I'm so dark compared to them,
Hmm.
and I go, "Oh my God, they can't be any cuter. Just can't be."
Yeah,
And I don't want anything to happen to them. Is my faith keeping them from being in trouble with it? I don't have answers. I know that energetically we're so powerful. As you think, so shall you become, is probably a true statement. We design our future, but I don't want
right.
anybody to
I was
write
gonna say
me and say, I'll never forget a letter I got. I was in Pharaoh's ice cream parlor, October 72. And I went in with my kids. My daughter was 3, to get ice cream with my sister. There was a fabric store next door, and it was down by the airport, Sacramento Airport. And we sat down, and I
Freeport
must have had 2
Boulevard for
bites.
people that live in South.
Freeport, thank you. Yeah. And I was told to leave. I just got this feeling I had to leave. And we left, and my daughter was not very happy with me. And we got in the car, a Volkswagen. Of course, I've always had a Volkswagen. And she started jumping, no seatbelts in those years, jumping up and down, and mama, mama, mama. And I looked behind me, and this big cloud. We must have left 5 minutes earlier. As long as it takes to get in the car, get around the block. Is that a miracle? I was talking to somebody. I was supposed to live, or my daughter was, or was my son supposed to be born? We don't have answers. Maybe
Mm-mm.
I'm in service, but I don't consider myself. Yeah, I'm service, but so is a housekeeper of service, and they're welcome. Thank you very much.
Maybe
How do you?
I just think that for some people there's a plan. There's some kind of plan
Yeah,
where you're supposed to make the world a better place or use your skills
yeah,
to help
yeah.
other people. And I think that's what that is. I think that people are pre-chosen for that. And
I
there's
don't
just
want to.
people
I
that
don't. I absolutely agree with you, but I don't want make it sound like, wow, Nancy, you're so
yeah.
special. I am so
No,
not
no, it's
special.
not like that. It's just that maybe certain people that when that happens, they may not. There's just something else that's going to come up in their life that's going to matter. I mean, it may even be as simple as getting married and raising healthy kids. I mean, it could be that, or
Uh,
adopting kids, or whatever. To do something like that. But I mean,
so,
it doesn't have to be something so grand as maybe what Nancy does or what I do, or you become
mhm.
president or what the hell ever. It's just to produce your offspring and do your thing, or and live a clean life or whatever.
I do feel, and I want to go with that. Um, I was talking to somebody, and they said, "Yeah, you're a service because of what you do." But how do you know what you do isn't going to be inherited by 4 generations from here, and they're in space or on the moon or on
Right.
another planet, and they need
Right.
that
Exactly.
ability?
Exactly.
It's not you, it's what you do.
Yeah. But I mean, for some reason, it is like I've heard stories about tornadoes. People that I knew in Ohio
Mhm,
and
mhm,
Kansas. Those places where a tornado's weird. All right, let's talk about the big M and the little M. You could be sitting in your house in the middle of a tornado, and the tornado hits the house on the left of you, and the tornado hits the house on the right of you, and your house is standing with no problems.
mhm.
I
I've
mean,
seen
who
pictures
decides
of the
that?
farmhouse with the tornado having gone around the whole house
Yeah, who's
and their
who's
fields
up
and
there
everything. And
commanding the tornado what direction to go? You know. So I don't
those
know.
are small M's for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Um, I do believe that small M's miracles happen in our lives. And this is something I wanted to bring up because I have more to talk about. We got a half
Go for
hour.
it.
And right. And I want to say that each and every one of us has had synchronicities and synchronicity and coincidence happen all the time. You
Right.
need to look at that. Is that a small M miracle? And who is governing us to have it happen? Now, Shar brought up the people in the closet with the angels going around. I believe that's real. Absolutely. Why would they make it up? I mean, who could make it up? They're live. And I just saw a movie on TV called 13 Minutes on a tornado event. It
Hmm.
was the last movie with Anne Hirsch in it. How do you say your name? Anne Hirsch? Yeah, it was called 13 Minutes, and it's 13 minutes preparation before the tornado hit, which is amazing to even be able to keep your sanity after one, because it
Yeah.
evidently is terrifying to hear. Um, so I want to bring up two things because you people don't know. My husband and I, my first husband and I, were able to buy a house the same year we got married, and we were 19 and 20 years old. We bought a small house, and over time remodeled it, made it bigger. But in the first year or so, um, my in-laws bought us a bedroom set because we were young. We didn't have any hardly money, and the only way that I was set on, I had a bed where you could get off the bed and walk away or something. My husband had to climb over me to get to his side of the bed. So he said, "Okay, I'm just going to run and jump over you." And I go, "Okay." And I was watching him do this, and for some reason I got the elbow in my nose, right there, right there. Broke it in two different places, and over years, it kind of went. I have pictures of me like this, and most of you know, oh, you have a cute nose. I go, it's a little nose. I had a beautiful, what you call the Indian nose. It was very straight and very classical look. And over time, my nose caused me a lot of grief. So we got into running in our 30s, and we got into horses a couple of years later, and I really loved it. And it was the years when I could run 21 miles.
Hmm.
And I set up to do my first marathon December 7th, 1987. But my husband in the summertime said, I'm going to sign up for Blue Cross. Why don't you get your nose fixed? Oh, what a great idea. And so we set it up, and in the quad, which is two offices, bottom two and top, the nose doctor was upstairs. But before I could get to the steps, to the right of me was a mammogram office. So I called Kaiser up because it made me think about not thinking something was wrong. And they said, well, you're not 40 yet. We can't give you a mammogram. Okay. So month went by and I'm still dealing with my nose. Sorry, everybody, allergies, right? And I thought, well, I'm going to spend $95 and have it done. I was diagnosed with stage 3 plus, and I was told I was 6 months away from making a stage 4.
Wow.
If I hadn't gotten my nose broken 20 years earlier, because we got married in 67, 20 years later, I'm going to get my nose fixed. Downstairs was a mammogram. If it had been reversed, I would never had seen it.
Hmm.
I was 6 months from the aggressive cancer I had from spreading through my entire body, which led to the divorce 6 months later, which led to 2 years later, year and a half later, am I going to live, to getting into this. And now I've been in this business May 4th. It'll be 33 years. I gave up a 24-year career to do this, everybody, full time. One miracle. The second miracle, we were in Arizona 8 years. Wouldn't you know, we moved when the crisis hit. We like everybody else, we lost houses. And the stress of that, the Graves' disease I had, they think I had it for 10 years. The Graves' disease really was really hard on me. and I knew something was wrong. And so I went to the doctor, and my blood pressure at one point when I had the hospitalization was over 190 over 150. I'm such a peaceful person to think blood pressure could be that big, but my headaches were what drove me to the doctor. So they
Hmm.
put that blood test and everything. They called me up and they said, "Can you go to the hospital?" And I went, "Sure, sure, why not, right?" And they said, "Oh my God, your blood pressure. Well, we got to give you some potassium." I go, "What's potassium?" Well, Graves' disease is a cruel thing. It not only depletes your bones of calcium, but it takes potassium from your body. So they hooked me up, and anybody's had potassium drip, it's terrible. If they don't mix it just right, it felt like molten metal being surged through your veins. So I was back done, and my daughter says, she's a nurse, and she said, "Oh, Mom, they're not supposed to do that." A young blonde man came around. He said he was an intern, and my husband was sitting next to me, and he said, "I just had to tell you. You were so fortunate to have gone into doctor when you did." I go, "Really? Why?" And he says, "Your body needs electricity, and your potassium was so low that you were within a 3-hour window of a fatal heart attack.
Yep.
Big M or little m. My nose being broken 20 years earlier got me diagnosed 6 months before I would have been fatal. The potassium event was terrible, and they got my blood pressure under control. But that event was a red brick effect. And I was in Arizona with my son, but my husband said to me, "You have a daughter that's a nurse who has two children that are nurses. Would you think you should go back to California?" I went, "Sounds like a good idea." So I'm back in California. We've been here since 12, so, uh, February of 12th. So I've been here
I
10
thought
years.
kind of an
But
interesting one too. When my heart gave out for my heart failure, I was with a cardiologist at UC Davis, and I went on my diets. I was working out, doing all this stuff, but I could not come out of heart failure, no matter what I did. And she was getting really frustrated with me because this was like a year down the line. Well, the heart got well enough because it went up, I don't know, a few points. Who the hell knows? That that my medical coverage switched me out of UC Davis, and I had to go to Medi-Cal. And I was really upset because I really liked that cardiologist. I got along great with her. She'd yell at me and keep, well, how I get yelled at all the time, keep stay on my toes. And so I go to the new doctor, and I had to go see a GP that I wasn't going to have anyway. And I was really upset that day. And I
mhm.
remember I was crying because I didn't want to leave UC Davis because I knew the care I was getting there was probably the best care you can get. And the guy
Yeah.
says, "Well, I guess you're depressed. We'll have you see a psychiatrist." And I said, "No, that's not why I'm depressed. Not my heart. It's because I didn't want to change doctors." Anyway, long story short is I go out to the parking lot. I'm wheeling my mom out there, and I look up, and there's an angel in the cloud.
Oh, 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 I
And I
love it.
took a picture of it. And I said, "Mom, this is a sign. I don't know what it's a sign of,
Oh,
but this is a sign." Within 3 months, my heart was beating normally. I came out of heart failure within 3 months
did
of
you get
that.
to keep your doctor? You had to go to the GP.
I had to go to the new cardiologist, but I mean, it didn't matter because
So
that
what they were telling you, no matter what doctor you would have,
mhm,
it'd be okay.
I was going to come out of it, yeah. But
Okay,
I
large M
said
or
the other
little m.
doctor, my old doctor, was so frustrated with me, my old cardiologist, because I could not come out of, I couldn't bring my heart back to normal, well, for being normal, for heart failure normal. But yeah, within 3 months, boom. But I came
Yeah.
out. I still have a picture of that angel.
Um, right? I want to tell. I got more to cover, but I'll tell one more story.
Keep going.
Um,
You're good.
yes, an event in Ventura, and the lady had an event she was attending with dogs, and she went with a friend. And while they were in the
Right.
parking lot at 6 a.m. in the morning, the car started on fire, and they were hurrying to get the dogs out. It was very stressful, terrible. I can't imagine at 6 in the morning who's going to be there. It was empty. And
Hmm.
she's getting the dogs out, and she's starting to really panic because it could blow up. And out of her vision to the right, all of a sudden a man shows up wearing boots. Well, background is Western, she knows the boots first. But what she thought was odd is he was carrying with him um, kind of like bolt, bro- bolt breakers, like big,
Hmm.
like cutting a branch tree,
Big
a
bolt
tree of a
cutters. Yeah.
branch.
Yeah.
Bolt
Yeah. Yeah.
cutters, is that what they're called? And
Yeah.
he
They're bolt
walked over
cutters.
to the engine, lifted the lid up, and cut free the battery that was on fire. And he said, bent his head and he walked away. Well, she took a dog out of the back of the vehicle. When she looked up, she saw nobody.
Wow.
Nobody. Nobody was there. A middle-aged fella with boots on. Tell that story to somebody. And sometimes we take for granted the small miracles around us.
Hmm.
And I want to go to the next section of my little talk here. It's titled, If You Want a Miracle in Your Life, Be Prepared to Participate in Its Unfolding. Oh, my allergies. I was okay until the fella next door put the leaf blower out,
Yeah.
and that gets me every time. So I'm going to say it again. If you want a miracle in your life, be prepared to participate in its unfolding. And this is what's important. Be grateful for everything. Live your life in gratitude. Stop using "I don't know what to do" as an excuse to do nothing. Step out of your routine. I talk about this all the time. If you want to develop your intuition, step out of the pattern. Create a new pattern. Start trusting and say, should I do this or should I do that? Help others receive the miracles they're praying for. Do unto others as they would do unto you. Pay it forward because it comes back.
Hmm.
Trust in your higher belief system and your intuition. When life gets tough, tough beyond what we think we can handle on our own, we do reach out for miracles. We plead. And we often say, let this illness pass over me and my loved ones. Give me a way to provide for myself and my family.
Hmm.
Bring me someone to love. Help me out of this situation that's causing such intense pain. Protect my loved ones from harm they're subjecting themselves to. And that comes from an article written by J. Marie Novak. I do believe in everything she's saying. There, we do have 10 commandments, and do unto others as they do unto you. That's really, really great. If you're in service, you give to others, you take care of others, it does come back. And with that, that gratitude makes you humble because you're so grateful not only just to be alive, and I've had many situations. I only gave you two good ones. I have
Hmm.
others like the bad car wreck I was in and being attacked by a dog, a couple times. Could have got so much worse. Could have been. And for some reason, I guess I have a place now where I truly believe they just don't want me. They just don't want me. And I'm going
They're
to be
just
here as
throwing you
long as I'm
back. That's
serving.
all.
They keep throwing me back. And I'm very humble with that, and life goes on. I'm getting older, and it says, oh, now what will I do? Because I don't get to leave. I've had some surprisingly, Shar and I have talked about intuitives, how
Yes.
hard it is on our bodies. And a book should be written, everybody. A book should be written. We just let our life force blend with others to do this job. I
Hmm.
do want to speak to one more thing. In all of our humbleness and pleading, whatever, I do believe there is a vibration to this, that we can pull to ourselves what we think we are deserving. Now, I don't want any written letters, please, please, please. I do love what I do, and I will continue for as long as my voice continues, which at the moment sounds terrible. But most of the time it seems like it's working. And I think we need to say to ourselves, if you don't like the environment you're in, can we change it? Can you change your job? I don't want you to give up a big paying job, but if we're not happy in our hearts, how can you be happy with our lives? And I want to
Hmm.
stress that. Um, what I do is hard. It's not always 100%, but I look sometimes at the bigger picture. What can I do? No life is without a purpose. No life is um, so fragile that it's wasteful. No,
Hmm.
nothing like that. And we're all interconnected with not the word love, but by a vibration. And if you're happy, we connect. I think there's something to be said about, and the word humble comes in,
Mhm.
that when you need help and you put it to the universe in a vibration of need, people will show up if they're meant to. At the expression that says, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. And I do believe that. Now, I had a young lady, she and her husband in Sacramento. Oh, that's so cute. Ghost investigators. I looked at the picture of them with their son and I went, oh, I like them. And she want to have coffee. She wants me to be, you know what? I have 10 minutes extra. I just don't. And so call me up and say, I could talk to you for 4 or 5 hours at a coffee shop. I would love to have you do that, but and visit these cute little kids starting out. I shouldn't have said cute little kids. They're very sweet couple. Thing is that we can only be stretched so far, everybody.
Mhm.
So stretch out the energy and say, I would like someone to be a mentor to me, and that person will show up because that is a small M. If you truly believe um, in your divine purpose for being here, you will discover it. I may not know what you could say to yourself, I may not know what my divine purpose is here, but I'm waiting anticipation of knowing the path it should be on and believe in that it will be shown to you. Now, as far as people who lose children, I did die. My dear death experience was at 7, and I was barely 7. I don't even know if I was a 7 in 1 month, but I had my tonsils out. My mother gave me an aspirin before going to bed, and I bled out. So in the morning, I was just a rag. They got me to the hospital in time. But during that night, I had a nice lady greet me, talk to me, and I remember her being so much bigger than I am. I was a very small little girl. Can't believe it now, but I would really, I was tiny. And she was so pleasant. I don't have any idea who side of the family she was even on. And she wanted me to not go with her. She says, "You see those two kids right down there?" And I was looking down and I could see these two children playing. She says, "You have to be here for them." I had no idea what she was talking about. The next thing I know, my s- stepdad to be was carrying me to the car. And I'm not the kind of person that captures thoughts all the time. I don't have a lot of memories of childhood. I do remember being carried by John, my sister Pamela's dad. And I remember thinking that he was special. Like,
Mhm.
you're carrying me. What are you carrying me for? And like, I've just loved being held by him. And he was always very fond of me. I think it was because he took me to the hospital. I was out of school for about, well, I know it was a while. Kind of didn't help me, but it is what it is. And people say, "Oh, yeah, that experience, how exciting." I go, it wasn't very exciting.
Yeah,
But I
but
do
again,
remember the lady. Huh?
it goes back to what I said earlier. They wanted to keep you going because you were going to have these children to raise.
Had to be my own children or
Yeah,
grandchildren yet.
right. And
I
that's what
don't
they were
know.
showing you. Yeah, and that's what they were showing you. And that
Hmm.
was at that point that was your meaning for life to move on.
Well, at the
And
moment,
later
it
on,
certainly was. I
yeah,
had to stay.
then
But a 7-year-old has no concept of death.
right,
7-year-old doesn't understand, "Oh, who are those people?" And
right.
it was like I was at a cloud or way high. And I Shara knows this, Bersay, Marconi, and I think we were on Bersay, let's see, I can't remember the street name, but we had a fountain in front. It was right across the street from elementary school at the time. And I remember this fountain, and these two little kids that I saw were in that fountain playing. And of course,
Oh,
it was the middle of the night. And I thought, Berceo Way, something like that. Anyway, and Marconi at Watt Avenue. And I remember thinking, what are those kids doing in the fountain? And I remember looking at them with puzzlement. So a child um, is not aware of death, or but being, I was holding this lady. She had a white dress on, which is very common in the 40s and 50s, 60s even. I took it now. I look back, and her dress was long, not to the ankle, like mid calf, and I think that was the look of the 40s. I never could see her face, but she was very pleasant. She held my hand and she pointed out to these two children. And I think, wow, I wish I had the knew to look up and look at her face. She was just so nice.
I
That's
had
it.
a friend who had a
Wasn't very
similar
much.
experience.
Oh,
I don't
really?
remember if it was an NDE or she had had a very what do they call those dreams? Lucid dream.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
she remembers seeing a little boy about maybe 2 years old, and she remembers what he looked like clearly. And then she
Ah,
remembers
I
waking
like
up
this.
in bed, in her body. And sure enough, within about 2 years, she had another baby, and it was a little boy. And
Oh,
this
I
friend of
love
mine's
it.
got a real sharp mind, real sharp. And as the baby started to grow up and hit its twos and threes, it occurred to her that it was the same child that was in this vision she had.
So she had near-death experience, huh? Oh
Yeah, something
my.
like that while she was sleeping in her
Oh,
own
while
bed.
she was sleeping.
Yeah,
She had
that's why I'm.
she
Yeah,
oh, she had a vision while sleeping. It was a
that's why
dream
I'm
that
not
she
sure
had
if
a
it was
child.
an NDE or she had a vision while she was sleeping.
I
And I
think the
think she
children.
was under. Yeah, she was under a lot of stress at that point with
Oh,
her
okay.
husband, and
Mhm.
all this was going on, and she had this dream, and she saw this kid, and she thought, well, am I going to have this kid, or what does this kid have anything to do with me? Because
Mhm.
I already have
Mhm.
my daughter. And then as the kid started, when she had her baby, and the kid started to grow up, it looked just like the kid, this vision she had.
I do believe our children connect to us as to say, by the way, can I come now? You know,
Yeah,
they do that.
or
I've
miracles. I
had a
mean,
lot, huh?
miracles. You
Mis-
never know.
Yeah, I would love to be able to sift through some of these 12. How many thousands of readings have I done since 2012 that I put on MP3s that I've
Well,
recorded and have hard drives? Wouldn't that be fun to go through and just collect? I have amazing stories
it would
that
be
are
fun,
told to
just
me
like,
by my
well,
clients.
remember the dog, my Maddie dog when she passed away. Remember I wasn't seeing her at all in dreams, and I was real frustrated.
Okay, I
And
don't remember
you kept going,
exactly.
no, you're not ready yet. And she's gonna come, but you're not ready yet. Blah 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 blah.
Oh, I say that.
And finally had this dream, and it was really weird. I was walking up and down the street looking for puppies,
Looking for puppies?
looking for puppies, and I hear
Okay,
this
okay.
voice, say, "Look down. I'm going to be black and tan, and it's going to be me."
I love it. I love
And I thought, that's the weirdest damn thing I ever did. The dog just talked to me, And then sure enough, and Marisa could vouch for this. Sure enough, when we go out, the first picture is Gypsy I had. She looked cool, like I give that, it was Gypsy. Plus my dad, had our boat named that, so I thought that was kind of weird there too. Another miracle, you know what I mean? Because my
it.
dad had
Hmm.
named all of our boats Gypsy, Gypsy Rose, and the cow goes, "Oh, by the way, her name's Gypsy," and I went, "Whoa!" So then we drive out there, and the first thing Marisa said was, "Oh my God, she looks like Maddie," and there it was.
And they had named her Gypsy Rose.
And they named her Gypsy, yeah. But it just with
Gypsy.
Maddie telling me in this dream, going, "You're going to see me. You're going to see a dog that looks like me, and that'll be me."
Coming
And then to
back.
go
Oh,
out
I love
there,
it.
and the first thing Marisa says is, "Oh my God, she looks like Maddie."
And to have her.
So
I
there you
know
have
it.
it.
Put our arms up. I'd like to make have homework. I'd like you to really think of your lives. And how many
Hmm.
close calls have you had? Char and I could probably keep you busy for another hour listening to our
Well, I
stories.
could
I
write
mean, it's
books
really
about my
amazing.
close calls. Hell yeah. I was an
I'm,
idiot.
I'm,
I,
I wouldn't say that. I
I'm
don't want
still
you
an
to say
idiot.
that.
I'm still an idiot, but that's okay. Yes.
We all have stories and we sometimes don't remember them. We don't give it credit for the small M's that happen in our lives. And I know looking in the room, a couple of people, in fact, there's someone missing that um, that has had miracles in her life. Someone's not in the chat room. And I think to myself, how lucky they are to be here. The synchronicitous situations that happen that save their life. Is that a small M or a large M? What's their path in life? Is there a servitude there? And I've had a lot of fun talking about this. I did start
Well,
researching and thought, what am I talking? What am I?
for the
We all
people
have small
laughing
M.
out there about me calling myself an idiot, last week I had another idiot moment. I still have Christmas lights in my bushes because of the storm, so I'm getting those out slowly. for the stamps. Some of them weren't
Oh,
working, so I'm plugging them in to test them. And the idiot that I am, I had a full roll of like 60 of or 100 of them, and I laid them on my lap, and I plugged them in, and all of a sudden you hear bzzz, pop, right when smoke comes out of them. That's an
oh
idiot
God.
moment.
She wants to live so badly to do this project here, and yet she electrocutes herself in the front yard. Oh my God.
I'm an idiot. Yes, go ahead.
Char, what am I going to do?
That's why last
Oh,
week when I told you
jeez.
guys about my back issues, that's why my mother was so happy because I couldn't go hiking and stuff like I used to and climbing. But yeah, I'm an idiot. It's all good.
I don't know what to think about this. But anyway, I was overwhelmed with the topic because I thought it'd be easy to talk about our stories and
Right.
maybe someone in the room could bring it up. But then I thought to myself, in the contents of our, um, those of us who were brought up in the Christian religion, I thought big M's, little M's. I
Right.
mean, how come people don't get the miracles when they have a child that's sick? I was in that Pharaoh's ice cream parlor and I didn't finish the topic that I wanted to make my point
Oh,
with
okay.
it,
Yeah.
that I did get to leave. And when I checked out, if anybody had been in that Pharaoh's ice cream parlor, you remember you come in and you leave, the cash register when you left was on the right. And I
All the
do remember
candy.
the two
Yes.
kids that were standing there. And to the left were the picnic tables. And 22 people got killed that day by the plane that took off across the street. And I don't know what happened, but it couldn't lift off the ground and it crashed into the ground and skidded right into Pharaoh's ice cream parlor and killed the people. And it was a birthday party and picnic tables there, wooden picnic tables. And I remember looking at them and I thought, oh, mom, I'm a mom. And I thought, oh, that's so fun. And yet I had this dread. And of course, I
Hmm.
was thinking that something happened to my husband, Larry,
Sure.
at home, because that was the only thing I could think of. Well, years later, I was on a radio show or doing something, and I got a letter of a very distressed woman. She says, "Why didn't you tell somebody?" I didn't know what it was. No
Yeah.
one
How are you gonna
showed
do that
me.
when you have no
The
clue?
universe didn't show me. What was I to say? Oh, I have a feeling I have to leave. Why, everybody might be in jeopardy. And what was terrible, it was just so many children got killed. But she was an identical twin, and her twin got killed.
Well,
She
when
has missed that twin all these years.
when you think about what you went through, it makes me think of and granted we've had some crappy politicians come through, presidents and all this other stuff. But imagine the president of the
Careful,
United
careful.
States.
Go ahead.
Every day every day, no matter who the president is, okay, guys, and I know whether you hate the guy or you don't like the guy, they have those decisions to make. They get a big thing on their desk that talks about threats to the United States. Now the question is, do they start like with you? Do they start a panic over something they're not sure about, happening, or do they let it go? What's the choice there?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because if they
Yeah,
can't, if he comes out and says, "Oh, by the way," because the air bases are here, right? Well, they used to be. By the way, they're going to bomb McClellan. Let's get you guys evacuated. Then it doesn't happen, and everybody panics, and they're out. They're out doing their
yeah,
thing. It's a no win situation, and you were in a no win situation because you could feel the foreboding, but you didn't know what the foreboding was.
yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I really did. And my sister, we just got up and left. I grabbed my 3-year-old, and she was very unhappy. She wanted to finish ice cream, and I couldn't. Almost to the point of getting nauseous. It was like
Well, check this out.
terrible feeling.
I'm going to post this, Sarah, so Nancy can read it. Here's one for you. Show. There you go.
The night before 9/11, my mom had a dream that she was helping people out of a building. Right?
Wow.
I love that,
See,
Sarah.
you just never know,
What are you
and
going to
that's
do
the
with that?
thing.
What are you going to do
Yeah,
with the
what are you gonna?
information?
Yeah, what are you gonna do with the information? That's what I mean. It's so hard, to spread that information because you can cause a panic too. And
Yeah.
but Nancy was between a
Sarah,
rock and a hard space. Yeah,
what's that?
you were between a rock and a hard space because had you said something
Mhm.
at Farrell's, you would have either people would have either turned on you and told you were full of baloney, or they would have taken off running, and it would have been horrible.
It would have been
So
terrible if someone got injured because I said something could happen.
right, right,
And
and then it didn't happen.
Well, I've
Yeah.
told this story before, and I'll tell it again. I was a supervisor. See, was I a supervisor at this point? Um, I might have been. Anyway, I
Oh,
went to
see, just
visit
hang
a
on.
clerk
Here's a
in
continuation.
a
Keep
tele
talking.
hand over
I
hand.
know
She
she
woke up
woke up exhausted.
exhausted.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway, I
you
was
know.
working for a telephone company.
Yes.
Let me finish the story.
Yeah.
Working for
Go
a
ahead.
telephone company, um, 11795 Street, Auburn, California, in front of Auburn Faith Hospital. And I
Hmm.
was in the building one end. I went to the other end and took some papers to someone in an office. And she was a friend, dear friend, and she still is. And I went to leave, and something pushed me back to her, like getting pushed like this. And I remember standing in front of her, and of course, the room was full of people, right?
Hmm.
And I said to her, "There's going to be a death in the family, but it will be okay. And you are to take care of the paperwork." And I might have said something else, but that was it. What that night, her mother's sister hammered to death her husband, who was an abusive alcoholic.
Whoa.
Now, what am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah.
There's going to be a death in her family. And so she looked at me, and she was a little tiny. Yes, there is. Like, what am I supposed to do about it? Was it her son? Was it her husband that was going to die? We had no idea. And I just went, I don't know. I'm supposed to tell you that. And I left. Where's my responsibility with that?
Right.
So what happened, because it was a mother's sister, she was put in jail. There's no one to do the paperwork. Mother was distraught. So my friend buried the man, took care of the paperwork. The the, the thing that I look back and I think about is this is 1984.
Hmm.
I had my surgery in 87, divorced in 88, got into this in 90 and left in 92. So it was really a long period of time before I got into the Spirit of Grace Church to control this ability. And I remember thinking back, not only what was my responsibility, but what did the words mean? It's going to be all right. What does that mean?
Hmm.
It will be all right because you're going to do the paperwork. But what about the man that was murdered? What about his wife? What would be all right, that it was okay that he was going to get murdered? How could I not say, see if you can stop somebody from driving a car? Who would have thought the word murder would be involved?
Hmm.
Where's our line of responsibility? In all these years, I've only talked to a couple people that died within a couple of days. Died not naturally. And I'll never forget the couple that I was on Black Eagle Drive at Watt Avenue, so it must have been very early 90s. Very handsome couple, lived off La Riviera and Watt Avenue. And Char maybe remember, she's pretty young at the time. Um, anyway, he had an appointment for Monday, and he calls me up. He says, "Weekend's busy. Monday's going to be terrible. I want to come Friday." Oh, fine. They came over, and it was a lovely, I just love people. They were just a lovely couple. And he had a house on the corner, and Saturday morning gets up, going to mow the grass. And he took all the equipment out, and he had all the stuff out, and he heard this terrible noise. Well, the family said that. And unbeknownst to him, 2 blocks over, I guess a tanker truck, gasoline tanker truck, was out of control. And it fell on its side, and it skidded into the yard and crashed into their house and exploded, and he was killed. I look back, the wife talked to me, and this could all be found out. I don't know how you find something between 1990 and 90, December of 95. But I remember being summertime. I don't think I was in this business more than a couple of years, 92, 93. And the wife called me up to tell me what happened. And of course, I couldn't even speak at that point. And she says, it was really strange because we had all these questions about us. And you direct the whole session about me. You never talked about my husband involvement.
Mm.
And I wouldn't know that because when to have people readings from me, boom, 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 boom. I can't even boom, boom, boom. Rarely do I remember everything unless it's something that stands out because someone said something to me. It's hard. It's hard to capture everything. I had a young lady call me today. In fact, I'm waiting for you girls to call me, set something up over the weekend. Um, they're friends. And she said, "Do you remember me?" And I go, "What decade did I talk to you? How far back was it?" And she did say something that reminded me because it was an unusual situation of money being buried type of thing. And I do remember, but not everything she said. And it's hard to remember unless people see me over and over, and I want to hear everybody's feelings. But
Hmm.
sometimes I'll say something, I go, whoa, I said that, it changed her whole life. I said something and the children grew up to do what I said. No, I can't remember that. But I do remember saying to this woman, there will be a death and it's going to be okay. I remember talking to the woman and said, you called me and your husband got killed yesterday. I talked to you the day before. How come I didn't know that? Well, we're not supposed to know the day and hour. And if it's something that has to happen, we will get nothing. I would think that a house being hit by a tanker truck and blowing up, or part of the house, would have been something I would have picked up. We
Hmm.
cannot get what we're not supposed to know. Amazing.
Absolutely amazing. You never know with stuff ever.
Yeah. Sarah said she had no idea what it was, meaning her mother with the dream. The
Hmm.
next morning, she saw it on the news and the light bulb went off in her head. Can you imagine how there's a lot of people coast to coast? I listen to George Norrie whenever I can, and his daughter had a dream of 9/11 explosions. I never picked anything up. And of course, the people that are against people like me say, why don't you play the lotto? Or why don't you tell us that the big accident's
Right.
happening? If I would stop this man from mowing his lawn.
Hmm.
He wouldn't have been there.
Absolutely. Well, listen,
Sarah,
guys.
it wasn't you. Huh?
Oh, the gal with the buried money. That's what Sarah wondered.
Was that you? I don't believe it. No, not the right picture. The girl I was talking to has children your age.
But
Anyway,
okay, it's been a wonderful hour. It always is. And
entertaining.
Monday's show. Okay, here's the deal. Radio Evil on Sunday. I'm going to be reading. And for those of you guys that love the Ralph Ellis interview, the guy that talked about King Arthur's Roundtable, I'm going to be interviewing him for a pre-record on Sunday afternoon, and we're going to be talking about Mary Magdalene. So that's going to be kind of cool.
Ooh,
So
so he's
that'll
coming back already?
well, no, that's going to be a pre-record, so that's not going to hit for at least a couple weeks because that
Oh,
goes over to the
and
Patreon.
when was he on before Sharp? Remind the
Last
audience.
week, last week I had the King Arthur thing on last Monday, but he's going
So
to do the
so interesting you
pre-record.
get to have him back. Oh boy, this is a treat.
Yeah, so that's going to be cool because a lot of people like them, and I'm glad to have him back. So, but Monday, okay, Lori Ditto is going to be here. I've been trying to get her for like a month now. Lori Ditto is an evangelist seer. I find it humorous that she calls herself a seer. Let's just cut it
What?
down to nuts and bolts. You're a psychic. Seer is just a fancy word. Come on. Just because you're an evangelist, I can't do that. She might be following me. I got to shut up. But I was saying, seer, psychic, Aphrodite. Okay, same thing. Anyway,
Direct
she is
into
the
I thought I would like to be called direct intuitive because I didn't
yeah,
like the word psychic.
yeah.
People didn't know what it was. What's it directed to it? I'm psychic. Just get over
The
it.
other thing that they like to be called is evidential medium. That's the latest
Ah,
high techy medium thing. Evidential medium.
that most people don't realize I was double blind tested, triple tested by Professor Gary Swartz, who comes on Coast to Coast, and he has written several things up about me. In
Right.
fact, I just got a book of another quote, and he called me an evidential medium
Yeah.
because I proved my salt to
Well,
him.
Amy, what's her face
Go
is
ahead.
leaving the Dead Files.
Oh, I do watch
She's
that once in a
retiring from
while.
the Dead Files, and so another lady is going on, and the lady that's going on is supposed to be an evidential medium. So it should be interesting to see what
What was it? Isn't Sarah also?
huh?
Dead Files wasn't Sarah also an evidential medium?
I don't know if Amy was. I don't know if she was an
Oh,
evidential
Amy,
medium.
sorry.
I don't know. She might have been. But the evidential
I
mediums,
remember.
I guess so, because she went through with the blindfold on, which I always thought was cool. Because I had the evidential medium on my team for a while.
Well, when you do readings with me or we do an investigation, I cannot see what you're doing or
Right.
where you're standing. Yet
Well, yeah,
I'm able to tell you
that's what
what the
makes it
place
cool.
looks like.
That's
So a
what
lot
makes
of
it
times
cool.
I will have my eyes closed because I see clear.
Yeah, yeah. So that's like a evidential medium
Mhm.
works. So, okay, getting back to Lori Ditto. Anyway, Lori Ditto has been on the Jim and Tammy show. I gotta laugh about that one.
I
But
caught
anyway,
that. I got it.
yeah,
I got it.
yeah, the Jim and Tammy show. That's okay. Shit happens. So I'm very excited to have her on. I've been trying to get a hold of her for months. And what her thing is that as a seer, she's been to hell. She claims she's been to hell, and she's seen what hell looks like, and she's also been to heaven. So she's going to tell us both sides of her visions of hell and heaven on Monday night. That'll be a 6:30 p.m. show.
That would
Okay.
be an interesting show for me to share what my clients and I have seen.
Yes, cue the crickets.
Just
Yeah.
because.
But anyway, yeah, so she's going to be here Monday, and then we'll be back at 6:30 for Reign No Evil and continue that book reading. Okay, the other announcement is, now, Susan, I know I owe you a class, and I'm aware of that. I was about to email you about it, and whenever you're ready, we can do the class, okay? That thing's done aside, so I haven't forgotten about you. That being aside, next Saturday, not this Saturday, next Saturday, I'm going to be teaching a protection class. This protection class is not like any other, let's blow it through protection class. This is something to teach you how to protect your house, yourselves, your cars, your pets, okay? Your animals. Not just dogs, but any animal you might have in the house. Could be a bear, I don't know. But it's a class that'll teach you how to do all that.
The
And it's
fish.
linking into a second class. There's so much information out there that I didn't realize, as far as protection goes, because as a ghost hunter, you hear about this, this, and this. Well, I'm going to go so deep in this. This is a 2-hour protection class for that first class. And then there will be a second class, which is going to go into other stuff like crystal, real deep crystal uses and meditations for protection and different things like that I'm going to be teaching. But this first class is going to be 7 p.m. Pacific on May 6th. And so it's a good deal, and I think you guys will like what I have to offer this class, because if you have animals at home, kids, whatever, you'll learn how to protect them. All right, or maybe somebody with negative energy comes into your house, or you pick up negative energy when you're at the mall. I'll teach you how to get that energy off and away from you. So head on over to the California Haunts Meetup site. It's California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Meetup, and we'll pop right up. Check the calendar out, and it's there for next a week from tomorrow. Okay, so I just want to get that out. Also, the Patreon site. Not many of you over there. I should go check out the Patreon site. Any video that we shoot ahead of time, because I know some of you work, and sometimes it's hard for you to come and watch this show. Well, any video that I shoot ahead of time goes up on the Patreon 2 weeks before it even airs. In fact, I'm going to be editing Tinkerbell this weekend, so I should have her up Monday or Tuesday over there.
I love it.
Sounds bad, I'm editing Tinkerbell. But yeah, so I'll have that up by Monday or Tuesday. So yeah, so you guys can see that 2 weeks before it comes out on YouTube. So it's kind of a plus. And I think Nancy, we'll have to talk to Nancy, and I'm going to try and get Nancy on next week sometime, and we can do an after-hour show over there for people. You can ask Nancy all kinds of questions and stuff, okay? So we're going to be able to do that. All right, anyway, I'm done talking, and it's hot in here. I should have turned the AC on before I came in here. And tomorrow's going to be another 90-degree day, and then it starts to go down again. We're even going to go down to 69.
4 days of rain next week.
Yeah.
Get down to 60 from 95.
I can't get the grass. I can't get the grass cut fast enough for the weather. I need one of those miracles. I need an angel to come out and make it all stop. But anyway, I will see you guys.
Small M miracle.
Yes, I will see you guys 6:30 p.m. Pacific on Sunday. But like I said, if you're interested in that class, go over to California Haunts Meetup. I've also put a link of it in events, Facebook events, so you guys can check it out from there as well. But it's a neat class. The pricing on it's a lot lower than usual. I'm trying to cut the pricing back because I know people can't afford it. Food's costing enough money for people right now, so I decided to cut the prices down on these classes a little bit. So
this is an intro.
Yeah, it's an intro.
And you got to remember, she'll be offering this to private people later on for a little bigger price. So you're getting a really good price. But if you want to order it later on, it will be more money.
Right.
So
and I can only have 10 people, so I have 9 spots left right now of the class. So come on down, as they say. But you should book early. All right, guys. I will see you Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. Thank you so much. And
give us a thumb up if you liked it.
Yeah, if I want to, please do. Please, if you're watching from Facebook, Hit that thumb up if you're watching from YouTube. Give me a thumb up and a comment. And that stuff. We want to keep everything going in the algorithm. And I'm real excited to say that our download numbers have we're 100 above
Amazing.
where we were last month at this point. So I think we're going to be pretty
Now,
good.
is that total or RSS feed?
That is RSS feed right now. We are 100 above on our RSS downloads. Pretty cool.
Wow.
So people are listening to us.
That's a lot of people, everybody.
We had 200 downloads today, which it just boggles my mind. That we would have that many. So I'm real excited about that. So the way it's looking right now, we're going to probably be 200 to 300 over and above where we were last month with downloads. And of course, remember, if you haven't done so already and you're listening out there in RSS land, and you want to, please hit that follow button on Facebook. You can follow me over at Instagram too. I'm Ghosty Gal. I'm all lowercase. Or head on over to our YouTube site and
subscribe.
Subscribe,
everybody.
That's youtube.com/@CaliforniaHauntsRadio. And subscribe. We're looking for subscribers. I added the subscribe button on the banner, so all you have to do is look at that subscribe thing and just click on that bad boy. Okay? All right, guys, I will see you, and I hope you had a great time. I did talking with Nancy. It's always a great time talking with Nancy. And I'm going to leave. So I'll see you guys on Sunday. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Good night.